And we are back, guys. Michael Cohen here on a Sports Talk Nation as the Jets get their clocks cleaned by the Buffalo Bills, 30-10. New York now 0-2. Also, the Giants show up in Dallas and still find a way to lose. They're now 0-2. Kind of the same old story when it comes to New York, especially New York football. Think about this for a second before we get into the games. We are sitting here with the Mets and Yankees trying to both get into the playoffs in Major League Baseball. Still trying to get, okay, we still got like 2 weeks left in the season, right? And it's pretty much, as far as playoffs are concerned for the two football teams in town in New York City, over! That's right, folks. It is over as far as that's concerned. Look, it's one thing to lose. And I'm going to preface by saying this as far as the Jets game is concerned. Yes, again, like I mentioned several weeks ago when I did when I went over the schedule and made my prediction on what the season was going to be, I said the Jets are going to have games where they're either going to, when they lose, where they're either going to lose games they should win, hint last week, or they're going to have games where they get their doors blown off, hint today. Yes, I said that. But sometimes it's the way you lose that kind of leaves a taste in the mouth that just isn't very good. And that was the case here on Sunday, because not only did the Jets lose on Sunday to the Buffalo Bills, not only did they get their clocks cleaned against the Buffalo Bills, they didn't even show up to MetLife Stadium against the Buffalo Bills. And this is where criticisms, and to me, it's not totally fair. I understand, because it is just 2 games with this new regime, but you're starting to see it with the fan base now. You're seeing it all over social media now with the fan base, that they're starting to lose patience just 2 games in. I understand that because, look, this is a fan base for the Jets that I've seen losing consistently for now the last 15 years. And I've gone through coach, and I've gone through different coaches, and I've gone through different quarterbacks, and I've gone through similar situations like this. And I've heard coaches say basically what Aaron Glenn said in the postgame today, that they're going to turn over every rock to find out how to fix this, and that they're going to look at the tape and all this other stuff. You've heard it all before, right? You're sick and tired of it. I totally get it. But it is just 2 games into this regime. To be fair, Aaron Glenn just got here. From that standpoint, you want to give him a benefit of the doubt. More of a benefit of the doubt. But that being said, if you want to criticize preparation, if you want to criticize the performance today, have at it, because that's fair game right now. Fair game to criticize the Jets because they look flat, they look dispirited, they look demoralized. Anything you can think of that is negative, that's what the Jets looked like on Sunday against the Buffalo Bills. And look, let's not mistake this. The Bills are one of the favorites to go to the Super Bowl this year for the AFC. It's really between they and Baltimore. They're the top 2 teams that are favored to represent the AFC in the big game. I can't say the same about Kansas City, even though they're 0-2. They don't look like the same team. It's either Buffalo or Baltimore, right? So, yes, this was a major step up in class for the Jets to go from Pittsburgh, who isn't very good. Pittsburgh, of course, lost today to the Seattle Seahawks, a game that the Jets should have won against what I think is an overrated and bad Steelers team, to now playing a team that could go to the Super Bowl, if not win the Super Bowl this year in the Buffalo Bills. 1,000% true. Huge step up in class. Because the Bills outplayed, outcoached, outhustled. They did everything right. The only time Josh Allen even was concerned or had to sweat in this game was when Michael Clemens incidentally got his hand into his face mask and dislocated his nose, broke his nose, whatever happened, and he had to leave the game for a couple of plays. Other than that, it was an okay day for Josh Allen, who just let James Cook for 132 yards on the ground for 2 touchdowns. Allen did his part, of course. He ran for 59 yards. He threw for 148 yards. He did what he always does as the Jets struggled to get really any kind of pressure on him. And again, it's the same problem that happened last week. It's dumb mistakes. It's penalties. It's turnovers. Turnovers, obviously, the Justin Fields fumble that happened very early in the game. That played a big role as it gave the Bills an opportunity to add to their lead, kick a field goal. But it's stupid mistakes that continue to hurt the Jets. And really, if you want to go for a turning point, remember last week it was the Quincy Williams hit out of bounds and then the fumble by Xavier Gibson. The turning point of this game came, obviously, on the penalty against Michael Clemens for roughing the passer. That's when this game was finished. And that was it. Happened right there, first drive, first quarter. Jets get penalized for a roughing the passer. It was a third down 19. Yeah, it was a third down and 19. Third down and 19. The Jets have a chance to get off the field. This after the Bills get called for intentional grounding. You have a chance to get off the field, force a field goal, and then you have Michael Clemens making a big mistake on the roughing the passer of Josh Allen, and it just gives the Bills new life. They, of course, get the touchdown, and that was really the game right there. It was all downhill from there. So what are the Jets going to do? And again, it goes back to what Glenn has talked about since he's come back here as the head coach now. It's about accountability. It's about holding guys accountable. Yes, he did yell at Michael Clemens when he came to the sideline. We have seen him go scorched earth on Clemens before, as we saw in the preseason. At some point, you have to cut ties with Michael Clemens because he is as talented as he is, and he is a talented player. That's why he's still here on this team. He is a guy who continues to make big mistakes. He continues to either, whether it's roughing the passer penalties, whether it's getting into verbal spats with other players from the opposing teams that draw flags, whatever it is, he's always in the middle of a bad situation for the Jets defensively. It may be time to cut your losses if you're the Jets at this point. So is Michael Clemens now going to be the latest casualty coming up, like Xavier Gibson? That's a question we have to wait and see. But then you have to look at it this way. You could continue to cut guys left and right. At some point, you need these guys to start to execute. And it's not just one play. It can't just be one player here, one player there. Everybody's got to find a way to execute. And right now, they're not executing as a team. Maybe eventually they will as we get towards the second half of this year and the schedule eases up for the Jets. But right now, they are playing like a group of individuals and not as a team. So I understand the anger. I understand the frustration the Jet fan feels. I totally get it. You're tired of losing. You're tired of seeing games like this. We've seen enough of these kind of games from the Jets over the years. But it is the second game of the first year of a head coach in a new regime. They do deserve a little bit of a break. But it is a bad sign as far as this season is concerned. There are concerns, okay? As I mentioned, the penalties, the mistakes, the lack of hustle, the lack of accountability by the players. And then the offense today, well, the formula to beat the Jets is very simple. Shut down Breece Hall, you shut down their offense. Hall only 29 yards on 10 carries. Jets abandoned their offense, their running game very quickly. And Justin Fields was under siege. Only 3 for 11 passing. He gets exposed. Also had a concussion in this game. His status, of course, moving forward for at least next week right now is in question. So everything that the Jets did right last week offensively, power running game, sharp precision passing by Justin Fields, mostly to Garrett Wilson last week, didn't happen this time. He was inaccurate. You had Garrett Wilson open up a couple of times down the field and couldn't hit him. There was one play early on in the first quarter where he had Wilson right there, open in the middle, overthrew him, nearly threw a pick. So you have to ask yourself that question is, which Justin Fields, if he's going to be healthy moving forward, are we going to see? Are we going to see the Justin Fields that looked great in week 1? Or are we going to see this one in week 2? It may be that kind of year for the Jets where we don't know what their identity is, but they just keep finding ways to lose. And that, of course, is not a good formula for a franchise, this franchise moving forward, or for a new program moving forward. It's like, here we go again. And what kills you is this, and I mean this, don't disrespect to Buffalo Bill fans, but this is how fed up the Jet fan is, right? Buffalo Bill fans are great. They will always show up for their team, but they're not always credited around the NFL as being that fan base that travels on the road. You usually hear about Dallas fans or San Francisco fans and Pittsburgh fans. You never hear about Bill fans. This place was jack full of Bill fans today. Jet fans have had enough. They're not even keeping their tickets, man. They're getting rid of them. selling them on the secondary market. I mean, just go online, look at some of the videos. You see Bill fans all over the place. It sounds like a road game for the Jets. So that's how tired the fan is, the Jet fan is, of seeing this franchise continue to lose and to stink it up week in, week out, year in, year out, coach after coach, quarterback after quarterback. We need to see progress, and we need to see a direction. Right now, 2 weeks in, there's no direction. That's where we are with the New York Jets right now as they sit there at 0-2. As for the Giants, well, they too find ways to lose, as they're now 0-2. They had a huge showing offensively. Everyone wanted to bench Russell Wilson at the end of the game last week against the Washington Commanders. This week, he has one of his best games of his career, one of the best games he's had since leaving the Seattle Seahawks, 450 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. But when it mattered the most, Giants couldn't get it done against Dallas. Couldn't get it done. Giants come back multiple times in the fourth quarter. Each time they come back and even try to take a lead. He had the lead with just seconds to go in this game. After that touchdown pass to Malik Neighbors, their defense couldn't hold the Cowboys at all. And, of course, they have that tremendous kicker for the Dallas Cowboys in Brandon Aubrey, who is making kicks from 64 yards. Seems like everyone makes field goals now from 60-plus yards. Aubrey getting the game-tying field goal, forces overtime. You have the bad interception by Russell Wilson in overtime where he just threw a ball up in the air for anybody, and it lands in the hands of the Cowboys. And then, of course, Dallas drives down the field. They get close enough for Aubrey to kick the game-winning field goal, and there you go, Dallas now 1-1. And the Giants are 0-2. You could feel good. You could talk about, hey, the offense clicked, and you showed some fight. You got Cam Sketabo into the end zone for his first career touchdown. You could talk about that. You could talk about Malik Neighbors with 167 yards receiving. Talk about Wendell Robinson, 142 yards receiving. But like the Jet game last week against the Steelers, there's no moral victories. And there's certainly no moral victories in the NFC East as the Giants sit there in last place. So that's where we are in football in New York City. 2 weeks in. 2 weeks in to the 2025 season. And you're starting to see Giant fans get a little bit tense about Brian Daboll. It's going to get interesting, folks. These are two fan bases that have no patience anymore for losing. I say to the Jet fan base, it is only 2 games into the new program. I know there are people who want to make comparisons to Robert Saleh and they want to make comparisons to Todd Bowles with Aaron Glenn. I say pump the brakes. Don't do that. Don't do that. I know he's a defensive coordinator, like Saleh was a defensive coordinator. Pump the brakes right now. Pump the brakes right now. But, of course, you have every reason to be upset and angry about the product you've seen on the field, especially this week against Buffalo. As for the Giant fan, I don't know what to tell you. All I can tell you is the more losses the Giants keep incurring, you're eventually going to see Jackson Dart. So you're going to get your wish in that regard. Beyond that, I can't tell you. Like and subscribe, folks. We'll talk to you next time.